Oh yes, Semajical Reviews is back. And this time, it's Series 2. Roll the titles, shall we? Hello, Happy New Year to you, and welcome to the second series of Semajical Reviews, where for the next 12 months I will be reviewing lots more stuff. And now, spoilers ahead for the first review of 2024. Because it's going to be my review of the 2023 holiday-themed horror film Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth. Now, this film actually opens with a group of teenagers sneaking into a store before it opens on Black Friday and getting caught in the ensuing shopping brawl, which results in the death of the security guard's wife. Flash forward 1 year, and the teenagers who were at the head of that little scheme are now finding themselves on the receiving end of holiday attacks as a killer in a John Carver mask is going around picking them off one by one. Now, for those of you from outside the US who don't know what Thanksgiving is, allow me to explain. Thanksgiving is a holiday in America in which families sit around the table to a roast dinner and take it in turns to say what they're thankful for. They literally just go around the table and do that. And the turkey is the centerpiece of their dinners, normally. The holiday itself came to light. Well, first of all, the Pilgrims first landed on Plymouth Rock in Massachusetts in 1620 and settled there. In 1621, they began the tradition of gathering around and saying what they were thankful for, and thus the tradition of Thanksgiving was born. And most of the attacks in the film Shock Horror actually take place during a Thanksgiving Day parade. The film actually takes place in Plymouth, Massachusetts. But I'm not going to tell you how it ends because I don't spoil endings. No, I don't. And you might be wondering why I'm reviewing a Thanksgiving-themed horror film rather than a New Year's one. Well, let me explain that too. By the time you're seeing this, New Year's Day would have already come and gone. So it would have been 4 days ago at the point you're seeing this, if you're seeing it on the day of its upload. or perhaps later than that, if afterwards. Although I must warn you, if you're squeamish, this is a very gory film. If you're squeamish. Anyway, what do I think of the film? I enjoyed it. Although at the time I was watching it, I was having a takeaway. Regretted eating while watching it in the end. Anyway, if you've seen this film, let me know what you think in the comments below, please. And the next episode will be the show's 100th. Oh yeah, okay. What do I have planned for the 100th episode milestone? You'll have to wait and see. And when will that episode be coming out? Well, in the next few days, so you don't have long to wait. So, if you enjoyed this Series 2 premiere of Semajical Reviews, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Until next time, thanks for watching, Happy New Year, and have a Semajical time. Hey guys, and welcome to the 100th episode of Semajical Reviews. And I'm going to do something I've never done on the show before. Not just review one film in a franchise, but an entire franchise of films. And, well, this was originally meant to be the Land Before Time franchise, but I had trouble when it came to the second film getting the disc to play properly. So, all this is heavy. I've changed it to the Back to the Future films. Now, there are 3 films in this series, and therefore shouldn't be too big of a chore to do. So, without further ado, let's get in with it. Let's get on with it, shall we? So, the obvious place to start is at the beginning. Obviously. So let's jump back in time to 1985 when a film called Back to the Future hit the silver screen. Now, for those who don't know what Back to the Future is, you've come to the right place because I'm about to describe the film to you. Also, spoilers ahead if you've never seen the film before. Marty McFly is a 17-year-old high school student whose life is about to change forever. He starts out with, well, not a not so perfect life. He has an uncle in prison. He is an alcoholic mother and a dweeby father. So he comes from a dysfunctional family. Now, his dad's always being confronted by Biff Tannen, who happens to be his supervisor. His brother and sister aren't doing too good for themselves either, and his girlfriend Jennifer is the only one trying to encourage his music career. Now, Marty's life changes forever at 1:15 a.m. at the Twin Pines Mall on the 26th of October 1985, when his friend Dr. Emmett L. Brown, aka the Doc, enlists his help with an experiment. He has converted a DeLorean into a time machine, and this was temporal experiment number 1, which involved him sending Einstein 1 minute into the future to test the time machine out. And when it succeeds, he then goes to explain to us how it actually works. Also tell us about the flux capacitor, which is what makes time travel possible. Now, in a bid to outrun Libyan nationalists, Marty jumps aboard the DeLorean after it has been set to November 12, 1955, and ends up catapulted back to that date, which was the day Doc Brown came up with the flux capacitor in the first place. Now, while in 1955, he prevents his parents' first meeting, thus preventing his own birth. And now he has to make sure they get together and fall in love, otherwise he and his siblings will never exist. And so he has to do everything he can to ensure they meet. Because after he jumps in front of Lorraine's dad's car, she gets the hots for him. Ugh! Okay. Now, the actors playing the characters. Okay, this film stars Michael J. Fox as Marty McFly, the teenager who ends up stuck out of his own time and having to find a way home. That is the other plot of the film. Christopher Lloyd as Doc Brown, the younger version of whom Marty enlists the help of. Leah Thompson as Lorraine Baines / McFly, Marty's mother, and the young version of her in 1955. Claudia Wells as Jennifer Parker, Marty's girlfriend. Who then becomes Elizabeth Shue at the end. Crispin Glover as George McFly. You know, Marty's downtrodden dad. And Thomas Wilson as Biff Tannen, the school bully in 1955 and the still bully in present day 1985. Now, Marty's adventure to find a way to get back to the future means that he has to enlist Doc Brown's help, the 1955 Doc's help to get back to 1985. As well as making sure his parents meet and fall in love. Now, time travel is never a very easy thing to understand, but that is basically the gist of Back to the Future. You'll hear my opinions of all three of these films at the end of the video. So, on now to part 2. Okay, so Back to the Future Part 2, guys, was the sequel to Back to the Future released in 1989. And this time, Marty McFly travels into the future, 2015, which is now the past, to sort out an event that destroys his whole future family. His son, Marty Jr., also Michael J. Fox in this, is, well, basically talked into committing a robbery with Griff's gang. Griff, by the way, is the son of Biff Tannen. Now, most of the cast in the first film return for this film. Only a couple of them don't. We now have Elizabeth Shue as Jennifer Parker. And Michael J. Fox plays, as I've just pointed out, Marty Jr. and Marlene McFly. And, well, basically, so, yeah, they travel into the future to prevent this, because, when Marty, in the original timeline, when Marty Jr. goes to prison, his sister Marlene breaks him out and ends up getting sent down for 20 years. The event sets off a chain reaction that destroys their whole family. So, Doc brings Marty into the future to prevent this from happening, simply by him posing as his future son. Now, okay, some of the predictions they make for the future in this film. Are you ready for this? Self-hydrating pizzas. Not true. Holographic movie marquees. That hasn't come true. Hoverboards. Well, hoverboards as we see them in the film, no. But we did have hoverboards invented in real life. If you can call them that. They're like these scooter platforms, really, that just hover about an inch above the ground. So, no. Not true. The ability to watch 6 channels at the same time on the same TV? No, we can't do that. Self-lacing shoes? No, sorry. We don't have those either. So did one of these predictions even come true? No, because and one last thing they predicted was flying cars. Now, of course, we knew that was never going to happen. And for good reason. But this is just a film, so we shouldn't overthink it. And after Marty buys a sports almanac and is forced to discard it, old Biff gets his hands on it, steals the time machine, goes back in time and gives it to his younger self, creating the alternate timeline they end up arriving back to. Whoops. So Marty has to fix his fuck up now in the future by going back to 1955, the past of this timeline, and making sure to get the almanac from young Biff, and of course destroy it, thus restoring the timeline. So that's Back to the Future Part 2 in a DeLorean nutshell. On to Part 3. Okay, in Back to the Future Part 3, released in 1990, Marty McFly travels back to the Old West to try and rescue Doc Brown, who is going to get shot over a matter of $80. And this changes the outcome of that to Marty being the one to get shot. He uses the alias Clint Eastwood. Yeah. Now, I actually forgot to mention he gets stuck in 1955 at the end of the last film. So he travels from there back to 1885. And here we also meet Clara Clayton, the school teacher who's just rolled into town, and some ancestors of Marty's, Seamus and Maggie McFly. And so this film is basically a cowboy adventure. That I can actually confidently say to you without ruining too much. We also meet Biff's great-great-grandfather, Buford Mad Dog Tannen. Now, a cliche the second film introduced continues here. Marty hates being called chicken. Every time someone calls him it, he loses his self-control. Here they call him Yellow. It basically means the same thing. You yellow belly. Now, I think, without wanting to ruin anything else for you guys, I'm going to stop talking about the plot of the film here. And now wrap this up by letting you know what I think of the trilogy as a whole. Well, first, each film individually. Back to the Future Part 1 is one of the best films ever made. Back to the Future Part 2, one of the best sequels ever made. And Back to the Future Part 3, well, this is the black sheep of the whole trilogy, but it's still an okay film. So, guys, as a whole, this trilogy is a good trilogy of films. And if I've interested those who haven't seen it yet into watching them, then I've done my job. If you have seen these films before, guys, what did you think? Let me know down in the comments. And this has been the 100th episode of Semajical Reviews. Next time, guys, you'll have to wait and see what the review's going to be of. But until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a magical time. Hey guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the show for reviewing everything apart from music, unfortunately, and video games. So, it's time to start reviewing my 3 all-time favourite classic musical films. And it should be no surprise as to which one I'm starting it with. I'm wearing the t-shirt for it. Yeah, there you go. Mary Poppins. Based on the children's book of the same name by P.L. Travers. The film is from 1964, and for those who haven't seen it before, you may want to go and watch the film before you watch this review. Because George Banks is a working father with a wife and 2 children who's pretty much dedicated to his job and not so much to his family. And his children, Jane and Michael, are always under the care of a nanny. Their current nanny, Katie Nana, takes leave after they run away for the last time. Only it's down to her carelessness that she lost them again. And they were just chasing after a runaway kite. Now, this is where the magical nanny Mary Poppins herself comes into play to act as the children's nanny. And it's apparent from when she first sets foot in the house that she's going to do wonders for the Banks family. As the moment she starts taking over the childcare of Jane and Michael, things start turning into a whimsical adventure. As they turn tidying up from a chore into a game. And then after that, they pop through a chalk pavement picture and go on a jolly holiday, okay? And now, while they have fun on this idyllic countryside holiday inside a chalk painting, the actual action of the film actually takes place when George takes Jane and Michael to see the bank that he works for. And there's a whole kerfuffle over tuppence. Now, let me just explain something for those modern children. But tuppence was a lot of money back then. This was a 1960s film, and it's set in Edwardian London. And you could do a lot for a tuppence in those days. Whereas you can do basically nothing with it now. So, and basically though, the kid's behaviour at the bank leads to George getting discharged from his job. Over a tuppence! I mean, come on! Over the tuppence that George wanted Michael to invest with the bank, when he wanted to feed the birds. Now, of course, it's all resolved in the end when the kids actually surrender the tuppence. But too little too late. But all that trouble over tuppence. I mean, just... And of course, another part of their adventuring involves them having a tea party on the ceiling at Uncle Albert's house. And George Banks, he actually does become fed up with hearing of these adventures. And this is what leads him into getting tricked into taking Jane and Michael to the bank. Although, he kind of tricks himself into it, rather than the way he thinks it happened. Now, Bert himself is the Swiss Army man, as every time you see him, he has a different job. At the beginning of the film, he's a one-man band, and he's the one that takes us to the Banks' house for the first time. Then, when they pop through a chalk pavement picture, he's a street artist, and it's one of his pictures they're jumping into. And then when Jane and Michael are on the run from the bank, it was sent the armed forces after them, he's a chimney sweep. So yes, 3 different jobs you see him doing over the course of the film. His actor, though, well, actually, we'll get to the actors next. How does the film end, you might be wondering, after I've told you everything? Well, the Banks become a proper family, Mary takes her leave, and disappears into the stratosphere for a long rest. Or possibly to go and help out another family. Or other families in the intervening time. Now, so that's the story of the film. The Banks is actually, it ends with them flying a kite in the park. Now, onto the cast of the film. The film stars Julie Andrews in the title role of Mary Poppins. And she plays the role superbly. And we have Dick Van Dyke as Bert. But not just that, he also plays Mr. Dawes Sr., the chairman of the bank. Pardon me. Yeah, so he plays 2 roles, which already shows the versatility of his acting, right there. Then we also have David Tomlinson as George Banks, Glynis Johns as Winifred Banks, Michael Garber as Michael Banks. Yeah, they had someone named Michael play a character named Michael. Okay, and Karen Detrice as Jane Banks. Pardon me. Okay, other characters. Okay, we have Ed Wynn playing Uncle Albert. It's Mary's uncle, by the way. And other characters we meet or only see for a brief time in the film. Mr. Dawes Jr. and the other partners of the bank. You know, the other men on the board of governors for the bank, basically. Miss Lark and Andrew, who we see a few times. Katie Nana, Ellen, the maid, and the cook at number 17 Cherry Tree Lane. Admiral Boom, who actually has a ship on his house roof. And Mr. Bennicle, his captain's mate, I guess, they always set the cannon off, sending the house next door, the Banks' house, into disarray every time. And they do it every hour, on the hour. And of course, Mrs. Banks is a member of the suffragette movement, which was going on at the time in the real world. In the time of its setting. 1910, by the way. Now, onto the musical numbers. The Sherman Brothers are responsible for composing all the music here. And with such wonderful toe-tapping numbers as A Spoonful of Sugar, Feed the Birds, Let's Go Fly a Kite, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and Step in Time, you will end up having a smashing time with this film. Directed by Robert Stevenson. No, not that one. Okay. And distributed by Walt Disney Pictures and Buena Vista. It's one of my all-time favourite musicals, as I said at the beginning. And what else can I say? I think I covered all the basics for the first time in a review. Okay. But how many of you look back nostalgically at this yourselves? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for this episode. Next time, we stick with the theme of my favourite musicals and go on to the next one. But until next time, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a Semajical time. Hi guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the review show where I review any film, TV show, toy, of any kind, well, any kind that's appropriate, but no music or video games. So let's move straight past that now into part 2 of the nostalgic musicals, or favourite classic musicals trilogy of reviews. And as you can tell by my t-shirt, yeah, 1968's Lionel Bart musical, Oliver. Now, as I said, the music of the film was written by Lionel Bart. It came out in 1968. And it is based on the Charles Dickens novel of the same name, published in 1839. So the story, I'm sure many of you will be familiar with this story. Oliver Twist is an orphan who escapes the life of a workhouse after asking for more food, put that in quotes. And he gets sent to be an apprentice to the Sowerbury. He's an undertaker. And where he gets put down in the cellar for causing a ruckus in the funeral home. Or the funeral parlour. And when he escapes that, he goes to London where he meets the Artful Dodger, who basically takes him back to Fagin's den and recruits him to be a pickpocket. And from there the adventure really starts, as he gets accused of being a pickpocket even though he actually isn't one. And after he is almost sentenced to prison to do hard labour, Mr. Brownlow then steps in to adopt him and take him home for a chance of a proper life, only to then be kidnapped, forced to break into someone's house, and become witness to a murder which, well, we don't see on screen here, owing to the film's family rating. So, it does end happily though, as Oliver is rescued and sent back to his adoptive home. So, now, in the actual story, there is the reveal that Mr. Brownlow is Oliver Twist's maternal grandfather. Now, so that's the story out the way. On to the cast. Well, this film's main stars are Mark Lester, who steps into the role of Oliver, the orphan who escapes the workhouse life to go for a better life in London. Well, Jack Wilde plays Jack Dawkins, aka the Artful Dodger, who takes him back to the den of Ron Moody, who plays Fagin. And he is an excellent character actor here. Plays him really well. And alongside these people, we have Shani Wallace as Nancy. Now, in the actual book, Nancy is actually listed down as a character being a DP. What's a DP? Well, I can't say the actual full thing here. So, you could pretty much take a guess for yourselves. But who acts very motherly towards Oliver. Then we have Harry Seacombe as Mr. Bumble. Oliver Reed steps into the role of Bill Sykes, the tough criminal who actually spearheads the crime of kidnapping Oliver and forcing him to break into someone's house and burglarize them. Okay, now I think we are going to move on to our next category in this review, the music. As I said, it was composed and written by Lionel Bart, but the musical numbers themselves are some of the best in musical movie history. Let's go through some of them, shall we? We have the opening song, Food Glorious Food, which is about, well, how much the orphans wish they could be fed proper food. Oliver, the song they sing after Oliver asks for more food. Then we have Boy for Sale, which is where Mr. Bumble is selling Oliver on. And this is where Sowerbury actually spots them. Okay, now, Consider Yourself is one of the biggest numbers in the actual... No, and the next song after that is Where Is Love? When Oliver's, he sings that when he's locked in the cellar. And he's lamenting over not feeling any love, poor lad. Now, Consider Yourself is one of the biggest numbers in the film. And it's a song the Artful Dodger sings to Oliver as he's leading him off to Fagin. You got to pick a pocket or two? Excellent. Needless to say, if I went through every song in the film, we'd be here for hours. But those are just some of the songs in the film. And we are reviewing the situation right now. The film was directed by Carol Reed. Was that a bit of nepotism then? Was Oliver Reed her husband? Now, as I'm sure you're aware what I'm going to say in my opinion of this film, which is the part of the review we're on now, well, it's part 2 of this trilogy of reviews for a reason, guys. Yeah, it's because it is one of my favourite classic musicals. In this case, the film. So, with all that stuff out of the way, in closing, I now ask you what your opinion of the film is if you've seen it. Let me know in the comments below. And next time, we close this trilogy out with the third part, when I will be reviewing Me Old Bamboo. I think I've given you the clue there. That's right. But we'll get to it next time. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a Semajical time. Hi guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the internet review show where I review anything from movies to toys. I don't do music, and I don't do video games. Well, eventually I will do mobile games, but that's as far as I'll go. But we're now going to get into the third and final part of the trilogy of reviews on my top favourite, or my favourite musical films. Now, last time I did Oliver, and before that I did Mary Poppins. So what's the third of the big three? Well, if you'll just direct your look, your vision towards my t-shirt, yeah, there you go. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Released by MGM Pictures in 1968, based on the book of the same name by Ian Fleming, a British author, as one of the only non-James Bond novels he ever wrote. Now, what does the story entail? Well, Karatakis Potts is an inventor, who has invented many marvellous machines, including a breakfast machine, and the invention we are actually watching him test out at the beginning of the film, rockets. His children, Jeremy and Jemima, never go to school. Instead, they go and play at Coggins' junkyard, where their old family car is said to be sold to the junk man who wants to scrunch it all up. So Jeremy and Jemima convince him to keep hold of the car and sell it to their dad, Caractacus, who's played by Dick Van Dyke, by the way, for 30 shillings. He agrees to do that, so they rush off home to tell their dad. This is where they are nearly knocked down running across the road by Truly Scrumptious, played by Sally Ann Howes, who offers them a lift home and then plays truant officer, berating their dad for not making them go to school. Now, after all this is blown over, they sit down to dinner, and this is where we meet the grandfather, played by Lionel Jeffries. And this is where Jeremy and Jemima tell Caractacus about the car, and they'll work something out. How do they do this? Well, it turns out that, at first, we are introduced to little sweets that like whistles when you blow into them. He goes to try and sell those off to Lord Scrumptious, Truly's dad, who owns a sweet factory. And his pitch goes awry. I forgot to mention they have a family dog called Edison, obviously named for Thomas Edison. So in the end, Caractacus joins a travelling fun fair, first with a hair-cutting machine, which doesn't go according to plan, and then with a song and dance number, which makes him the money to buy the car, which he does up, and Well, this is where the story actually comes into play. They go for a picnic at the beach, and the kids want Karaticus to make up a story. So he makes up a story about a car that not only drives, but also flies and floats. As they are taken all the way to Bulgaria, where there are no children allowed, and they have the child catcher come out and catch the kids. This is where we meet the toy maker, who actually helps to try and hide the kids. But they end up getting captured anyway, and they get taken to Baron Bombburst, who sentences them to be locked in the dungeon. And then we learn the reason why children are outlawed in this country. It's because the Baroness hates children. Which is a tad hypocritical, if you ask me, because they have all these toys, which are obviously designed for children, but the actual Baron Bombburst himself is a childlike ruler of Bulgaria. And there's a whole island offside where all the other children who have come to the country have been, well, sent to be isolated. And so it then becomes a rescue mission. Needless to say, the kids are rescued, as is their grandfather, and they are able to free the country of Bulgaria from the evil clutches of the Baron and his wife. Now, at the very end of the film, shock horror, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, what we believe to have been a story about a flying and floating car turns out to have been true, because we see the car flying off at the end of the film. Without propellers, mind you. So that's the story. Now, on to the characters themselves. Okay. So first off, we have Karaticus Potts, played by Dick Van Dyke, as I previously mentioned, the eccentric inventor of the story, who invents the flying floating car. Chitty chitty bang bang. Then we have Truly Scrumptious, played by Sally Ann Howes. She's the daughter of the owner of the sweet factory in the story, who befriends Jeremy and Jemima, and eventually befriends Karaticus Potts after telling him off for letting his kids bunk off school. And then, of course, we have the grandfather, played by Lionel Jeffries, who's always saying that he's going to go off on expeditions to other parts of the world, when really he's just going to the outhouse. Okay, so those are our three main adult characters. Now, Jeremy and Jemima, I actually forget who played the kids. But they're Karaticus Potts' two young children, and they're right little scamps. Let's just leave it at that. As a matter of fact, let's just now move on to the music of the film. And we got such great musical numbers in this film as the title song itself, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, You Two, or I Have You Two. No, I'm not going to sing it. Truly Scrumptious, Doll on the Music Box, Hushabye Mountain, Posh, The Roses of Success, okay, so all that's left to do now is actually let you know what I thought of everything now. This film is actually, as I said at the beginning, one of my all-time favourite musical films. And it always will be. So, with that being said, if it's a favourite of any of yours, let me know in the comments below. And this is where the trilogy of me reviewing my 3 all-time favourite musical films ends, guys. And next up for review will be South Park Season 6. Until then, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a magical time. Hey guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the review show where I do general reviews. And we are now up to episode 6 of series 2, so I thought I would review South Park season 6 for this video. Now, the 6th season of South Park first aired on Comedy Central in 2002. There were 17 episodes, which takes the total count up to 96. And the beginning story arc of the season is Butters being a member of the core team, carried over from the end of season 5. And so for the first few episodes, we see Butters as a member of the core team. Then we see him getting kicked out 6 episodes in and replaced with Tweak. And then a lot of crazy storylines happen. including, but not limited to, Cartman drinking Kenny's cremated ashes, thinking they were chocolate milk mix, and therefore resurrecting Kenny's soul in his body, in Cartman's body. And then there's a future self episode, and so on. Now, a lot of the plots of these episodes I can't actually mention because I don't want to get into trouble with the website, with the YouTube. And that, I'm sure, is understandable to everyone on the platform. But all I can say is, at the end of the season, something magical happens. So, my opinion of Season 6 of South Park is it's a good season, not one of the best. It has a lot of good episodes in it, and it's worth a watch. So I do recommend the season. And well, that's it for the review. If you have seen the season yourselves, let me know what you think in the comments below, please. And what your favourite episodes in the season are. My favourite episodes in the season are A Ladder to Heaven, Aspen, and My Future Self and Me. Those are some of my favourites in the season. So, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a Semajical time. Hi guys, and welcome back to Semajical Reviews, the review show the internet review show for general reviews. So we're going back to the nostalgic TV favourites here for a kids show, an American kids show that's been going for 54 years currently. Sesame Street. Now, what Sesame Street is I'm sure you're all aware, it's an educational preschool children's TV show that's been going since 1969 that teaches kids the alphabet and numbers, and as well as going into some topics that kids may have needed to know, but they don't shove these topics down the kids' throats. They teach them delicately about it, such topics as incarceration and war and discrimination, or how bad it is. Many special guests go on the show over the years, and some episodes have even sparked controversy. In recent years, there's even been a Muppet character on the show on the autistic spectrum. Now, for people on the spectrum, such as myself and other fellow YouTubers, this is a good thing, because kids who are not on the spectrum might make fun of kids who are. And it should open their eyes as to what people on the spectrum have lived through. Depending on the level, of course, you might run your life simply by routine, and any changes to that are unmanageable. So who are the characters on Sesame Street? Well, human characters, they'll be interchangeable, but there's one that's been there since the very beginning and is still there to this day, unless he's retired now, Gordon. But the Muppet characters, all the regulars, we have Elmo, Big Bird, Oscar the Grouch, who lives obviously in a dustbin or trash can for my American viewers, Telly, Zoe, the Cookie Monster, whose real name is Sid, by the way, Grover, Bert and Ernie, now, of course, over 54 years, this means the TV show itself has had, well over 4,500 episodes at this point. So, and it's still going strong. And they'll be promising you sunny days as per their theme song. Who are some of the guest stars they've had on over the years? Well, they've had Margaret Hamilton as the Wicked Witch, which apparently traumatized the kids watching at the time. Mark Hamill's been on, so has Carrie Fisher. Henry Winkler's been on as the Fonz. And yes, you can bet, of the non-human variety, Kermit the Frog's been a regular on the show. Anyway, so my opinion of Sesame Street is it's one of these quintessential kids classics, and those of us who grew up with it should still be nostalgic over it. It's something parents can watch with their kids And I'm pretty sure they do watch it with their kids. So let me know in the comments below if you're parents and you watch Sesame Street with your little ones. Because I would like to know. Anyway. And if you watched it yourselves, what were your opinions? Okay, so that's it for this review. Until next time, if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching and have a Semajical time.